Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stelezzi again with a casted game for you from Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. We're looking at Breaking Bees trying to once again, this time against another British opponent that seems to have an obsession with August 15th, it looks like, yeah. Is that what that means, the 0815 with the pointed? Yeah, either that or it's some other piece of code, but who knows. Either way, let's look at the map real quick and figure out how that's going to affect the match. So in the Legacy game, which I do most of the time, this map would actually be considered St. Harold's Island, I believe, but I think it has a different name here. Same concept though. Basically, you got this main portion of the map where you got these like little canyons that stick out like that pretty much, where you have to go around them. It does provide a bit of cover for you, so it's not too open of a map. And then down here, you have a trade route with about 3 trading posts on it. This one over here in particular is going to be useful to China and their setup. Obviously, if British does any sort of Greenwich time type build, they'll probably jump onto this one first. Other than that, though, there is a little bit of an interesting detail on this map. This little piece up here. Essentially, this sort of like little extension of the land portion is covered in ice, which means you can't actually build on most of it. I believe you can build on this little snowy piece right here, but that's about it. So, yeah, if you want to go mining over here, you're going to have to take the risk of getting raided there without too much help. You know, you're going to have to either run over here. If you have something over here, you're going to have to come all the way down here to get safe. So, you better be careful of that, right? Always look both ways before crossing the ice into where the hussars can get you. Yeah. So, here we have China. Breaking Bees China is totally something different than what we're used to, right? Going for the porcelain tower is the first wonder. Going for the French consulate instead of the Russians. Definitely he figured out a nice economic system of using the Chinese, and one that mainstream people did not catch on very early. Essentially what it ends up doing is it ends up combining the benefits of going with a infinite 300 food start with the Chinese, with having extra resources overall. And the way it accomplishes that is basically getting the French consulate with the help of the T export card. That's something totally new for Definitive Edition, right? And instead, again, a mere 300 food, that technology from the French consulate ends up giving you 400 food, so a little bit of extra food making it even more valuable to you, right? While also not taking up an entire card slot in your home city either, for a card you might only use once, right? So that's pretty good, you know. It gives you much more resources, and it saves up 1 slot in your home city for 1 more card that you can use. Looks like the trading post was captured over here too, by the way. Oh wow, British goes for a trading post already as well, even before any sort of Greenwich card is even sent. Do we have Greenwich time in this deck? We do not. So it looks like British completely used all their wood for a TP there. Yo, good luck, have fun. It's always good to see good sportsmanship there. But either way, this deck appears to be a Virginia Company-based one, since we do see the Virginia Company right here. This basically means British has the option of going for Virginia Company to make all the manor house costs cheaper, allowing you to get those free villagers from the manor houses exponentially faster. I don't know if he will go for that card, but we'll see. We'll see if that ends up happening. Does actually have a market over here getting hunting dogs as well, so really cranking out the optimizations here, both in terms of XP acquisition with the trading posts, also picking up the hunting dogs to get that food gather rate improvement very early on in the game. Sometimes people will get that hunting dogs technology in the transition from age 1 to 2, but you can opt to get it earlier, depend on what your RNG is with the treasures, and depend on what your starting crates are to get a much quicker age up time, which is quite good. Looks like you will actually go for that Virginia Company technology here, which should actually help get these manor houses out a lot faster. Another thing you usually do as British is get the gang saw technology at the market as well around this time, so you can actually get that faster wood cutting rate sooner. You know, it does look like Breaking Me is sticking to the normal recipe that he does. French consulate here, porcelain tower here. This is going to lead to a lot of resources that Breaking Me is going to be able to depend on. And if all goes according to plan, he should be able to do his vast fortress into the Mongolian banner army, like he has been doing for most of these games now. But we'll see. It depends on what the British does, right? What is the British agent going to be? It is going to be the governor. The governor will grant him about 1 outpost wagon and about 200 coin next to the town center. That's going to be really good for offense, to the point that you can place your forward barracks somewhere on the map and then have a nice nifty tower to provide some range cover for it too. So we could see potentially a strong push by the British, unless they decide for whatever reason to protect the home front. It really depends. Yeah, we'll have to see how this turns out. Either way, I think China's going to try to just kind of do their own thing here, if they can, as long as British doesn't interfere, right? Yeah, that's what we always hope for, as the British, as the Chinese, I should say, when you're doing the fast fortresses. You won't get rushed by anybody, but British, obviously, with all their resources from all those extra vills, can obviously start to stomp you with musketeers or longbows, depend on what the map calls for and what the strategy is. So we'll see. Alright, British explorers right here right now, trying to do some scouting. So where is that forward base going to be? It could potentially be over here somewhere. Maybe. We'll see. Also, what's this treasure? 120 food, is that right? Now, that's going to be really good for Fast Fortress right there. That's a huge boost right there, 120 food. That's going to be a big difference. Outposts will go over here, and barracks will go in the back, so taking a more defensive aspect here. This is great if you're China. This means China's going to have a pretty smooth transition to Age 3 now, since it seems like British is not focusing on that huge offensive attack, going for the 1 flamethrower, 1 castle rickshaw card. This provides a bit of defense from the flamethrower against infantry, and then of course a castle you can prop down to defend some of your mines and hunts. Maybe over here somewhere. This would be a great spot for one. I wouldn't really put it over here since you're only defending like 1 hunt, so yeah, definitely something in this quadrant is where he's going to want to put it. Yep, so the Confucian Academy will be the second wonder as part of this Breaking Me build. And let's see where the castle goes. So the castle's going to actually go all the way down here, protecting the forward position. So taking a more offensive push compared to the British. May as well, you know, there's no enemy presence here. Oh, well, oh no, pikeman. Oh no, and then he pulls away with his flamethrower too. That is just unfortunate timing, my friend. If he kept that flamethrower here, he would have been totally fine. Yeah, I mean, he could still bring it in and probably do the job here, but yeah, see, this makes it a bit riskier now, right? I mean, yeah, he should be able to beat these pikemen, though, with the flamethrower very easily. Especially with the help of the castle there. Alright. Yeah, it definitely was a very dicey situation, because now, as you can see, this castle is missing a lot of its HP, and this is going to force Breaking Me to repair this thing if he wants to keep it at full HP. Otherwise, there's always going to be the risk that British comes in with something much smaller and just sieges this thing down, ruining his rush in Age 3. So, Arquebusiers from the Confucian Academy have arrived at the castle. Probably is going to start doing Mongolian armies here very soon. Yep, Mongolian Army 1. Chengdao shipment coming in as well to protect against Hussars mainly. What's going on back at the home front? So it looks like mostly going for food and coin. And we'll probably need some sort of wood shipment of 1,000 to get some villages out and be able to field a much larger army than what he's got right now. Decisions. When you're the Chinese, or really any civ going up against the British, you always have to choose, do I lead the manor houses up, or do I siege them? Because if I siege them, you do get a big kill bounty from taking those out, but you're also giving British a chance to get another free vill. If you just leave it there, they get line of sight of that area, and you don't get that bounty from sieging the thing. So there's a lot of decisions that goes into that. British also goes for Age 3 as well with the Adventurer, it looks like. Gradually training in some longbowmen, it looks like, for defense at home. Longbowmen should be a pretty good defensive unit here. They have a lot of range, they have a good rate of fire, good multipliers against the Chengdaos and the Kijiks that Breaking Me will mostly be doing here. Also, again, a stable for Hussars and possibly Dragoons. You could totally go Longbow Dragoon, I think, here, and probably do well against Breaking Me's setup. But we'll see if he ends up doing that. For right now, it's just queuing in Hussars, which, you know, not bad. I mean, if it does end up protecting you a bit from these hand units, reaching your Longbowmen, but you're definitely going to want to have like a few Dragoons for this heavier cavalry. Because he's going to be doing a big mishmash of Step Riders, Iron Flails, and Meteor Hammers across the board, so you're going to want to be ready for that. Now we see China starting to get a few more villages going. It looks like getting another Mongolian army as well as the Beiyang army card. Beiyang army is really any Mongolian army player's friend pretty much, because it gives you a big number of Kijiks and Step Riders, and it researches their veteran upgrades for free. So if you love spamming the Mongolian army, you probably should have Beiyang army in your deck always. It's always a good go-to. Big thing is, though, that it does cost a bit of food to get, so just be aware of that and make sure that you have enough Chinese food and pork fried rice in your back, in your bowl, basically, to afford it. Yeah. Flying Crow should be arriving soon, too, from this Confucian Academy. Might consider pushing once the Flying Crow arrives, so there's a bit of artillery support. British does make the necessary transition to Dragoons, again, veteran on the longbow, ships into Falconets. So is, again, the appropriate units here, but is it the right amount, is the question. Because China's making a really key timing attack here, going after the market right now just as the Falconets arrive, really trying to sap British the ability to build a large enough force. Yeah, because if China waits too long, very good chance British could have enough Dragoons and Longbowmen to shred this cavalry comp, right? So you really can't give them that time to build that necessary force up. You have to really drain him the ability to build a huge army against you. You have to go where the army's kind of teeny-weeny like this, you know? Still the right kind of units, but not enough of them to defend against your attack. Is getting in more Dragoons. Could conceivably see more longbows coming in as well. Well, wait a second. Could he go longbows? He could even go pikemen, you know, set up a line of pikemen against the hand cav and to go after the Kijiks with. That's another option. Totally. We see British on the move now, perhaps trying to make some sort of... Oh, hand mortars. See, this is what China was waiting for here, the hand mortars. These things are basically artillery snipers, you know. They have great multipliers against artillery, so they're really good at sniping your Falconets. Hussars do connect with them, and they will take one of them out, but fortunately for China, not the other ones. Yep. See, this is where he gets the British. The hand mortars are there now, and they're gonna at least take out one of these Falconets. Maybe, probably even the other one now. So I mean, your time with this artillery piece is very limited. Oh boy, the flamethrower gets in the front. The Flying Crow is within bombard range. That is just really sad. Now the Dragoons are under direct fire from Arquebusiers, and you are not looking in good shape right now. Your army has been completely cleaned up. Completely cleaned up there. Also, some hand mortars do survive, and they will be able to siege from long range now. If China really wanted to draw this out, they could actually hide around the hand mortars and let them do the job. Maybe. But still, yeah, I would imagine you still want to push pretty well, because longbowmen can actually reach back there and harass these hand mortars almost, yeah. So you kind of have to do a little bit of pushing at least to keep the longbows in check, I would say. So, big ship into longbowmen there, 10, 5 Dragoons, 3 longbowmen. So you got a really good force right there to get this going. And, yeah, yep, looks like China's made a really good push into his base. Dragoons basically forced behind the town center because of these Arquebusiers. giving a good opening for Handcap to make a move on to the archer units with their anti-skirmisher multipliers. And we got a really good push here, yeah. And town center should be down anytime soon. I really don't see this town center being recoverable, especially with this artillery right on top of it. Big time. Kijix providing a little bit of range support, also the Arquebusiers. Just enough to basically down the town center, yeah. And now your main defensive area is down. Makes a few disciples as well for some anti-skirmisher attack there, which is pretty good. Kijix enough to actually threaten the dragoons now, which is a big problem. And I think you're in great shape. You've basically cleaned that base out completely dry now. Do not see this British coming back at all and doing anything. Here comes the Manchu, which is a really good reinforcement. That concludes the match. Good match there by Breaking Me. Good attempt by the August 15 fellow there, whatever his name means. And, yep, let's look at the resources. So it does look like British does have the better resource count here due to manor booming, it looks like, especially with the Virginia Company, but still China is able to use their shipments wisely and make an even bigger force than the British could. And with the proper timing, of course, not giving British the time to really use those resources the way they probably would have wanted to. But yeah, in terms of military, just a little bit more numbers and better units, I would say, you know. A little bit of pikemen and longbows with dragoons just does not cut it against all those heavy cav units, all those skirms, all that artillery. Really, China brought almost all their units to the table this game. Almost all of them, I would say. So, yeah, China definitely not only had the numbers, but also the variety of units just to make the win happen. Whereas British, you know, were just working with what they could, you know, using all their wood to get longbows, all their coin to get dragoons. Only 2 falconets that obviously couldn't survive the hand wars, so there's that aspect. But yeah, fun game overall. Yeah, this was a good match by Breaking Me. I believe there's one more that I got right now, so I'll be doing that one for another recording. Signing off now from this gameplay and casted game. See you in the next one.